Well, good morning to all of you, and thank you so much for coming to the Lynn City Council chambers. I believe that's where we are today. My name is Kate Bowditch. I'm the president of Greenbelt, the land trust for Essex County, and we are thrilled to be celebrating the wonderful permanent protection of the Lynn Woods for the city of Lynn, its residents, and all of the folks who come to enjoy the Lynn Woods forever into the future. I'm sorry that we're not able to be there in the Lynn Woods celebrating together and taking a walk afterwards, but I think we're glad actually that we're not there. And thank you so much to the folks here in the mayor's office and the city council for making this space available and scrambling to coordinate all of the things to make this happen. So delighted to be here, delighted to have such a great crowd and a lot of wonderful, important partners and speakers to celebrate with us today. In case you don't know, I'm just going to briefly tell you, Greenbelt as a land trust has a mission of protecting natural land and working farms across Essex County forever, helping to conserve healthy ecosystems, clean water, local food supplies, scenic landscapes, and free, accessible places for people to get outside and benefit from nature all year round. So that's who we are, and we are delighted to be here as a partner and a part of this amazing project. I would like, before we start, to give a land acknowledgement. The properties that Greenbelt conserves are on the ancestral lands of the Pennacook and the Pawtucket, Abenaki-speaking people. For thousands of years, these inhabitants and their families fished, hunted, farmed, conducted ceremonies, and developed deep stewardship connections to these unceded lands and waterways. Please join us in honoring the elders who lived here before, the indigenous descendants today, and the generations to come. Thank you. So now, without further ado, I would like to recognize a couple of people who are here. We're delighted to be joined today by Senator Crichton and Representative Cahill, along with the other, along with a lot of wonderful speakers who you're going to hear from today, and I'm sure probably some other people who I have neglected to mention. So thank you all very much. I'm going to jump right in. Of course, we do have a lot of people here from the city of Lynn who we're delighted to see, residents, town officials, volunteers, and a large contingent from Greenbelt, from the state of Massachusetts, both the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, and in particular, the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation. So it's an august and fun group of people to be celebrating with. I'd like to start introducing Stephanie Cooper, the Undersecretary of the Environment. Stephanie Cooper has over 25 years of experience working on parks and open space, conservation, transportation, and environmental protection issues in the public sector. She currently serves as Undersecretary for Environment within the Massachusetts Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, with a portfolio including land conservation, perfect, park investments, coastal zone management, and many more. In her role, she also oversees the state environmental agencies with a focus on protecting, preserving, and enhancing the Commonwealth's environmental resources while ensuring a clean energy future for all. Undersecretary, thanks so much for your service to the Commonwealth's parks and open space, and for joining us today for this celebration of Lynn Woods.
Thank you so much, and good morning. Kate said it well. Weather was not going to keep us from celebrating this important milestone, but it is great that we're celebrating it in this beautiful, historic, sheltered place. And another time, we'll all go out to Lynn Woods and walk together. So I'm really so happy to be here to celebrate this milestone. And we wouldn't be here today without the decades of commitment of so many people and organizations. And I'll mention a few, but the really strong partnership that DCR and the City of Lynn, Greenbelt, and the Friends of Lynn Woods have had, and really importantly, the City of Lynn with the right leadership, Mayor Nicholson, who's right in my sights here, and Lynn Water and Sewer for gifting Greenbelt and DCR this conservation restriction. Talk about a priceless gift that will ensure that the space remains a supplier of clean water for the city and also permanently protected. And often we say, can one individual really make a difference in this world? And one individual who's made a huge difference in this world in this project is Jim Camo, who's here. I saw him come in, and there he is. Familiar applause, and everybody knows about Jim and his role at DCR. And actually, I would have known to recognize him for this project, or people would have reminded me to in our office. But Jim, I want you to know that one of your longtime colleagues emailed me and said, I'm going to be out of town. I'm not going to be able to make this event, but you better be sure to recognize Jim Camo. And she described his dogged determination, which is really who Jim has been, but it's part of how this project came to be, so I want to recognize that. So we have this wonderful partnership, we have this conservation restriction that will ensure that this special place will remain just as Frederick Law Olmsted, the renowned architect, envisioned originally, that it's undeveloped and preserved and in its natural state for residents to enjoy. And our administration, the Healy Driscoll administration, has set incredibly ambitious climate goals. They're really commitments. Legal commitments to preserve our open green spaces, and that's a key part of how we're going to address climate change and reduce emissions and make our communities healthy and resilient in the meantime. So we're so committed to protecting our incredible natural resources. It's more important than ever before, and we know that the decisions we make today will impact Massachusetts for generations and generations to come. So in this instance, part of the protection of Lynn Woods brings permanent protection for the beautiful forests that are there that are doing so much for us. So outdoor recreation, yes, but also carbon sequestration and just preserving this beautiful natural, cultural, and recreational landscape and the important water resources for the region. And so we see the extreme weather that we all experienced coming here today. We'll experience it again when we walk out the door. All of the extreme precipitation, extreme heat, and places like Lynn Woods are even more important for absorbing those climate extremes and making it livable and enjoyable still for people, but also taking care of the environment and helping us buffer climate change. So as an administration, and I would say as a broader community, these are the types of actions that we need to take more of to protect our important natural lands and balance that with the development needs that we know we also have, and we can do it all. So I just want to say thank you again for including me. I'm so happy to celebrate this partnership and this special day, and I look forward to being at more of these types of events and being with many of you at Lynn Woods as the weather turns for the nicer in the coming days. So thank you so much. Okay, you're coming back, right?
I'm coming back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much. She says everything, so I don't have to. It's perfect. I would like next to introduce the Commissioner of the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation, Brian Arrigo. Commissioner Arrigo joined Governor Healy's administration as Commissioner in April of 2023. He previously served as the Mayor of Revere, where, among other things, he led the development of the city's first master plan in over 40 years, Next Stop Revere. A widely respected mayor, he was elected president of the Massachusetts Mayors Association. Prior to being elected mayor, he was a city councilor and held various positions with the MBTA, the City of Somerville, the District of Columbia City Council, and the Massachusetts Senate Committee on Ways and Means. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for that kind introduction, Kate. It's great to be here at Lynn City Hall to celebrate the significant milestone in our ongoing work to protect and preserve our natural resources and environmental integrity of our beautiful Massachusetts landscapes. I want to start by thanking the DCR staff. If folks are from DCR, please just raise your hand. I know folks played such an important role in this decades-long effort, and just want to show my appreciation for the work that you do every day on behalf of the residents of the Commonwealth. I also want to thank and recognize Kate and her team at Greenbelt, the state delegation from Lynn, who's been a great supporter of the agency, the Department of Conservation and Recreation, and of course Mayor Nicholson and his team in the city, and the Friends of Lynn Woods. And I think it's important for me to just touch on the incredible partnership and the commitment that this announcement today kind of represents, and the ability for us to come together and be able to make sure that we're promoting and protecting space, and ultimately keeping an important source of recreation for the region and for the Commonwealth, and a supplier for clean water for the city. And as all of you, I think, know, partnership and teamwork is something that's really crucial to the Haley Driscoll administration. It's something that we value, and something that we certainly value at the Department of Conservation and Recreation. And I often say that the work that we do at DCR sits at the nexus of the climate change crisis, economic opportunity, public health, and equity. And this partnership and the conservation restriction that we're talking about today are such a great example of those four pillars, and how together we're protecting this space that's treasured by so many folks from development. People come from all over the region to see our beautiful spaces, including Lynn Woods. Lynn Woods is one of the country's first, and for a time was the largest municipal park in the country. And at DCR, we take pride in our ability to preserve, protect, and enhance natural, cultural, and recreational resources. And actions like this, actions like today, and partnerships like today are so instrumental to us carrying out that mission. Access to open spaces like Lynn Woods help build thriving, healthy communities, and that's what we aim to do at DCR. And this conservation restriction will ensure that we can protect this vital urban oasis, including over 30 miles of trails that visitors can use for running, hiking, biking, from future development. And over the years, Lynn Woods has faced numerous threats of development, including proposals for a golf course and rerouting I-95. However, thanks to tremendous dedication to so many folks and the advocacy of Greenbelt and the Friends group and our team at DCR and the city and the delegation, we have successfully preserved 2,000 acres of Lynn Woods for future generations to truly be able to cherish. And so I think it's just important as I wrap up to acknowledge that partnerships like this, the one that we see in Lynn, that's come together, foster collaborative stewardship between state, local governments, residents, organizations. They are great and they're fun to celebrate, but they truly do underscore a commitment to protecting open spaces. And so I just want to close by thanking the city, thanking our partners, thanking the delegation. Together we have taken a significant step towards securing a brighter and greener future for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So thank you.
Great. Well, as you just heard, it is really important to have leadership from the state level on down to make this possible. So I'd like to ask Rep. Cahill and Senator Crichton if you would be willing to come up and talk a little bit about your experience here. As I think all of you probably know, both are from Lynn here. Wonderful, long, proud histories of public service, and we're so pleased that you're both here to join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you very much to everyone involved. This has been a long time coming. I think the last time Senator Crichton and I took a vote on this matter, and Representative Capano, I believe I was at this podium as a city council president, and they were city councilors. So not a lot has changed as far as the folks involved, but we're very grateful now to be here as state officials, and we were very proud of our vote, along with the city and our partnership with DCR, and I want to thank Undersecretary Cooper and her team as well for finally putting the kind of final and most strict conservation protections onto Lynn Woods. Lynn Woods is a true gem to a lot of Lynners. We have a lot of fond memories with our families up there. Former state representative Steve Walsh used to run around the Commonwealth and tell people that Lynn was a community where you can go from the waterfront to the woods, 3 miles, and people were very confused that A, we had a waterfront, and B, that we had woods at all. So it's great to be able to highlight the fact that not only do we have these amazing, pristine natural resources, but they're also very dedicated to protecting them. And I want to thank the residents of Lynn. The residents of Lynn have been a steward of this land for hundreds of years, and we take great pride in it. And folks from around the state who visit Lynn Woods for the first time, they comment on the trails and how clean it is. And that's not by accident. It's Friends of Lynn Woods for decades have been protecting this land. It's just regular residents who, when they go for walks with their families, are sure to pick up any excess trash they may see, but there's actually not a lot of trash because people understand how important this is for so many people on Lynn. We're just grateful to be part of this. We have a lot of fun memories. I've been chased out of Lynn Woods many times by the police. When I was younger, anyone of a certain age knows about Sandy Beach and the ovens, you'll know what I'm talking about. We're glad that those days are over. But again, just a majestic piece of property. I want to thank the City Council for their leadership in making sure that we protect this and preserve this for generations to come. And we look forward to what will happen over the next couple of 100 years. I'm going to turn it over to my good colleague, Senator Crichton, would never be at Sandy Beach and never be at any other location in Lynn Woods other than the fine trails. So, Senator?
Thank you, Representative. I don't want to repeat too much what was already said. I was not invited to the ovens parties. It's one of my biggest regrets of my life, but I did read about them in the police log quite a bit. It's an honor to be here, and I just want to say thanks and echo the thanks that have already been done here today. You know, growing up in Lynn Woods is always a source of pride. It's sacred land for us here, really. In the city, I grew up just a few streets over, and some of my earliest memories were going up there with my parents and my brother and sister and looking for pirate treasure, which we never quite found, but we had a lot of fun doing that. And now, as I have 2 young children myself, we're kind of redoing it all over again. And it's been a wonderful experience to show them the beauty of the woods, the trails, such a vibrant community there, from folks just going to enjoy nature to running competitively up there, mountain biking. There's just so many different things that Lynn Woods offers, and it wouldn't be what it is without everyone that's in here today. So we really express all of your thank you. It'd be risky for me to name everyone, but obviously thank you to Greenbelt, the administration, the city councilors that are here, the city officials that are here that have been working on this for so long, and the Friends of Lynn Woods, as well as just residents that care so deeply about what truly is a gem, not only for Lynn, not only for the North Shore, but for the entire Commonwealth. So thank you everyone that's made this possible.
Representative Capano, Representative Armini would be here today, but based on the restriction, they are actually at Dungeon Rock trying to dig up the gold before the restriction goes into place. So we wish them well.
Wow, all right, we do wish them well. A lot of people have been looking for that, so I hope they find it. It's my great pleasure next to introduce the Mayor of Lynn. Mayor Nicholson, prior to being elected mayor, served for 3 terms on the Lynn School Committee and as a law professor at Northeastern University. He's also worked as a business lawyer for startups and as a legal services attorney here in Lynn, providing free legal help to small businesses in support of community growth. Mayor Nicholson and his administration strive to engage with the community to provide forward-thinking leadership and achieve growth in Lynn that includes all of us. Mayor Nicholson, thank you so much for your support of this project, which I think has been in the works through 4 of your predecessors, and you finally got it across the finish line. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you to the City Council for hosting us here in this impromptu location. We appreciate it. As has been referenced, this is really the culmination of years of work. Years of work on this particular project, and that builds on decades of preservation and conservation that even created that possibility. And I have a tremendous amount of gratitude for everyone that has allowed us to get here. Thank you to the Greenbelt Conservancy, to Commissioner Arrigo and the DCR staff, to Undersecretary Cooper, to the whole team at EEA, to Lynn Water and Sewer Commission and their team. We have Ranger Dan Smalls this year, who's been an instrumental role. For your service and commitment to this incredible jewel we have here in the city. My colleagues in the city government, we have Ward 3 Councilor Coco Allen-Sugg, Councilor at Large Brian Field, Ward 2 Councilor Obed Matul, Ward 4 Councilor Natasha Meji-Madri, and here earlier was Councilor at Large Nicole McLean. Thank you to all of you as well. I'd also like to thank the city team. A lot of city departments have worked on this. My staff, the law department, for example, Attorney Jim Milano has done a lot of work on this over the years. We appreciate it. And that certainly includes prior administrations, Mayor McGee, Mayor Kennedy, Mayor Clancy, Mayor McManus. I don't know how far back it's worth going, but everyone's had a hand in sort of protecting this space. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. And it is certainly a moment to celebrate, but also sort of reflect and think back and thank all the people that allowed us to get there. We're talking, as we've heard, about 2,200 acres of nature right here in the city of Lynn. 30 miles of trails, the hiking, the running, the mountain biking, the cross-country skiing, you can do it all. And signature features that we all come to define our recreational lives, at Dungeon Rock and the Stone Tower and the Rose Garden. I mean, it's an incredible resource, and it's become a really special place for me personally and my family. Those moments of solitude with my 2 sons and my wife that we're able to sort of separate from everything else and connect with one another and with nature is truly a precious gift. And I think it is so remarkable that it is nature right here, because people often think about the city and nature as being 2 different things, as being sort of opposites, in fact, diametrically opposed to one another. In a sense, the city is, in some thinking, humanity's fall from nature, a descent, or in the alternative, the opposite, the city is our advancement away from nature, or our conquest of nature. And a place like Lynn Woods, here in the city, shows that doesn't have to be the case, that the city is nature, and that nature is the city. And that was the genius of Frederick Law Olmsted, one of the world's most renowned landscape architects, that saw this in 1889 and made that recommendation to leave this land untouched and preserved for the city as part of the city. And it doesn't mean that we're not continuing to grow and develop as a city. We're growing all around it as we have grown our commitment to the conservation in this part of the city. And I think that's a really special mix and collaboration that creates that magic of putting people together and putting people together in those natural spaces. That wouldn't be possible without generations of commitment to the preservation of the space, the protection of the space, in some ways, the rescue of that space from, active harm and things like dumping and sort of bad actors, as well as neglect or just misguided plans at times. And thanks to the foresight and the commitment of all those that have worked together to preserve this space for future generations, we in Lynn can find what the rightful Duke from Shakespeare's As You Like It found when he was usurped and banished in the play As You Like It. In this our life, exempt from public haunt, finds tongues in trees, books in the running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. Thank you.
I really hope that was recorded. Awesome, you're so lucky to have such a terrific mayor, inspirational, thank you. There are a couple of people that I would like to mention who are here and some who are not, but in particular, as you all know and you've heard before, it does take a lot of partners to do a project like this, both important leadership, but also persistence and on-the-ground expertise. I want to be sure to mention the Department of Conservation and Recreation staff, DCR staff, who worked for many, many years and particularly in the recent years worked very hard with Greenbelt to make this happen. Here I think is Jennifer Howard today and Christine Berry. Thank you both so much. In particular to mention Bob O'Connor, who is here. Bob from the Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs Office, who has worked in Massachusetts on open space issues for his entire career, including on the protection of Lynn Woods. Thank you so much for coming to celebrate with us. And although I don't think she wants me to, I really would like to thank and mention Greenbelt's Vanessa Johnson Hall. Everybody knows Vanessa, as far as I can tell, and a couple of other critical people who worked so closely over the years with Vanessa, now retired from DCR, Jim Como. Dan Small, the ranger. And Steve Babbitt, who is going to the history. Steve has been working in and on the protection of Lynn Woods for a long time, a lot longer than many of us, maybe not quite as long as Jim, but I don't know, guys, I think he could probably tie for that. Steve is the chair of the Lynn Parks Commission and was the, I think, founder and first president of the Friends of Lynn Woods, and is going to give us a little bit of the history of this whole effort.
I used to walk a lot quicker than this, but the conservation restriction, a lot of times people ask me, why we need a conservation restriction. I mean, we've got things in place, Article 97, we've got Water Protection Acts and things like that. But over the years, first of all, there are multiple jurisdictions. All of Lynn Woods is not in the city of Lynn. There's some parts that are in Lynnfield and some parts that are in Saugus. Also, there's been a lot of, as the mayor said, misguided plans over the years for different things. I mean, the last master plan back in 1990 called for selling off parts of Lynn Woods to fund other projects within Lynn Woods, so it's kind of like biting off your foot to get out of the trap. I mean, as previously mentioned, there was a highway, there was school, ideas of the schools, and there are many other things. If you took all those projects and put them on a map and then subtracted them, you'd have about a postage stamp worth of Lynn Woods back. So that's why a conservation restriction was needed. Now, when this started, I recall the Friends of Lynn Woods started in October of 1989. It was in 10 years later where Jim Camo and I were talking, and I said, Jim, you and I are not going to be around forever. What can we do? And Jim suggested a conservation restriction, so that's when that started. It started with Mayor McManus, and the state got involved. They actually purchased 80 acres of land up behind Birch Pond. As you drive up Walnut Street and you look to your right behind Birch Pond, if it wasn't for the efforts of the state, you'd see houses there now. So we started with that. We had some sort of an agreement. There was some votes taken by the council, and we had an agreement moving forward, and all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but things fell apart. And then fast forward to Mayor McGee. He got things going. Again, Judy Flanagan Kennedy had started some stuff toward the end of her administration, but then it was Mayor McGee, and then it was Mayor Nicholson who pushed things across the finish line. And I commend, the current administration, all previous administrations, and the law department. I know that when Jim's phone, when his phone rang and it was me, he probably said, "Oh no, it's Babbitt again." So, but we've talked many, many times, and I know Jim and the law department put a lot of effort into this. The state did many things, title searches, the Greenbelt did many things, so it's been a great thing. And I have to also mention Mike and Amy with Jim Camo. I know they work together researching deeds and titles and ad nauseum. And going back to why we needed a CR, not all of the parcels in Lynn Woods are clearly defined. There's a lot of, things that aren't clearly understood. So this clears up a lot. It's going to dictate what can happen and what can't happen. And when we talked about development, I remember when I was in the Park Commission, somebody came to us, it was a national concern. They wanted to put a BMX racing park near the Great Woods entrance. So I don't know that I've explained it that well, but that's what I wanted to say to you, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks again to all of you for coming. I'm particularly pleased that there are reporters here and folks from the media. I think this is such a great story to be sharing. We should all be inspired and excited, and I'm delighted that we have a little Shakespeare to take us home with and remember. That wraps up the formal part of our celebration together. I am really delighted to see all of you, and I look forward to seeing you out there on the trails in the beautiful Lynn Woods. Thanks again to members of the City Council and the Mayor's Office for letting us get together today here in this beautiful spot where we're all warm and dry. Take care, safe travels home. Thanks again to all of you for coming.